What's the difference between a TRO and FRO in New Jersey?
In the state of New Jersey, there is a distinction between a TRO and an FRO. A TRO, or Temporary Restraining Order, is what you apply for when some incident has happened that leads the victim of domestic violence to believe that he or she needs some form of protection. Again, these applications are ex parte, meaning the person you are accusing of domestic violence is not present at the time you are filling out your application and testifying under oath as to what has happened. Once you gain a temporary restraining order, you then will be required to have a hearing. It is by statute supposed to happen within 10 days, but oftentimes those guidelines on time frames are relaxed a little bit because the person accused oftentimes needs time to hire a lawyer and come to court prepared to deal with it. But you will have a hearing, and at that hearing, you are applying for a final restraining order. The final restraining order has a higher standard. At that point, it has to be proven to be by a preponderance of the evidence, meaning more likely than not that something did happen, and that there is a need for the issuance of a restraining order for ongoing protection of the victim. So you can have an incident that happens that a court says was absolutely a predicate act of domestic violence. Something did violate the law in that sense. However, there might not be a need for an ongoing protection between the parties. If the parties are no longer in a relationship, if this was a one-time incident, if the incident wasn't that severe, there's any number of factors that the court will look to determine whether or not a final restraining order should be issued. But that hearing takes place with both parties participating, putting on evidence, calling witnesses, and ultimately a court will make a determination.